I am really pleased to say that I thoroughly enjoyed Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't know if I enjoyed it more than the previous Avengers film. I can't quite make up my mind. But there's a lot about this that I thoroughly enjoyed, partly with the narrative, partly with the character of Ultron, and also partly just with the quality of the editing and the CGI and the cinematography in general. I just thought was absolutely exquisite. As I've mentioned in previous Marvel films, but not in the previous Avengers film discussion that I did, I find that Marvel tends to be overly complicated with too many references to terminology and things from other films, where if you've only seen the previous films once and don't remember absolutely everything, it takes intense concentration to watch a Marvel film. But with the previous Avengers film, I didn't find that to be the case. And I didn't find that to be the case here either. I thought it was very easy to follow, very straightforward, but obviously not simple. It wasn't too simplistic, with fantastic characters, some great new additions, and from start to finish, I genuinely enjoyed it. I did find the narrative in the middle got a little bit, not dull, but for my personal liking, it just wasn't that interesting. But at that point, that's when the cinematography was at its sharpest, so I was still engaged. This was released in 2015, directed by Joss Whedon, of course, with our usual fantastic cast: Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I don't know what it is, but I love seeing Thor in today's world. I just think the dichotomy of Thor and contemporary America is just incredible. Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, Scarlett Johansson as Romanoff, etc. We also have James Spader, who is Ultron, and Ultron has the best costume. Absolutely the best visual appearance, if I can call it that. If you've seen the film, you'll know what I mean. If you haven't, I'm not going to spoil anything in this, I absolutely promise that. We also have somebody I was very much looking forward to, and that's Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda. And before anybody asks, I haven't seen WandaVision. I will be watching, or I intend to watch, some Marvel TV shows once I've caught up with the films. So I will definitely get around to WandaVision at some point. A lot of other, so many great actors in this, that's just kind of scratching the surface. The narrative itself is lovely. So Tony Stark and a couple of others are trying to launch this peacekeeping program called Ultron. But it turns out that Ultron goes horribly, horribly wrong. And instead of being a peacekeeping program, he becomes this horrific villain who is basically trying to wipe out Earth. And I think that's brilliant. You create something with one intention and it ends up being the exact opposite. It's very technical. There's this beautiful scene where we're kind of seeing inside Ultron's mind, or his programming. And there are all of these different squares, or cells, or I don't know what the technical term is. But it just looked absolutely fantastic seeing inside his mind. And then when we get the physical representation with his suit, I thought it was brilliant. As a villain, I absolutely loved him. I thoroughly enjoyed the performance. I loved his dialogue. I loved his mannerisms and his attitude. I thought he was brilliant. With regards to Wanda Maximoff, her background and why she was trying to get revenge on Tony Stark, I thought was really powerful. Because we look at the Avengers, well, actually, a lot of society is turning against the Avengers at this point. But we also look at the Avengers as people who are there to avenge the wrongdoers and do good in society. But there are a lot of things, a lot of repercussions with their actions. Wanda is the result of one of those repercussions. And Elizabeth Olsen was amazing. I thought she was absolutely fantastic. Still a little bit weird. I've seen her in other things, but this is the first time when I've kind of truly been captivated by her performance, because certainly it was one of the most complex performances she's ever had. Looking forward to finding out more about Scarlet Witch, and I love the journey her character went on in this film. I won't explain it because I don't want to spoil it, but I was surprised at her introduction because that's not the type of character I thought she was. And then I watched her character development. It made more sense with what I knew about her already. Really, really had a lot of fun. There is one scene that I truly loved, and it's the scene where the Hulk turns back into Banner, and there's this fantastic moment where you see him going from the big Hulk into Banner, and his skin goes from green to his normal skin colour, And the editing there is astounding. It truly is absolutely fantastic and looks so realistic. And it's something I've said time and time again. Even though Marvel narratives are often very complex and definitely written for the Marvel fan rather than the casual viewer, with some exceptions, the CGI, the cinematography, the editing, the visual effects, they are always top notch. And that's something that is so true here. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The next film I have to watch is Ant-Man, and I've seen it before. I have reviewed it way back when it came out in, I want to say 2015, but I'm going to watch it again. So I will re-review it, and maybe see how my opinion compares now that I've seen all of the Marvel films that have come before that. I am still very much enjoying my Marvel journey. The last couple of films have been a bit hit or miss, but Age of Ultron has completely restored my enjoyment I am having with this watching all of Marvel challenge. Certainly the narrative here was great, it developed really well, it was gripping, it was thrilling. As I said, maybe in the middle my attention waned a bit with the narrative, but the CGI and the special effects were all so incredible, it was a visual treat. As a casual viewer, I can't fault it. For die-hard Marvel fans, maybe there will be things in it that could have been different. I'd love to know if your opinion is different to mine, if you are a die-hard Marvel fan, or not. But either way, Avengers that was a mouthful. Avengers Age of Ultron. I really truly enjoyed it.